Good morning, my dear students. This is Somasantari. Today we are discussing about Economics Unit 2. The topic is Globalization and Trade. Introduction. Liberalization, privatization and globalization have become a much talked to subjects among the politicians, economists and businessmen in modern days. Now we are discussing globalization. Globalization means the speed up of movements and exchanges all over the planet. One of the effects of globalization is that it promotes and increases interactions between different regions and population around the globe. Globalization is the integration of a country with the world economy. Basically, globalization signifies a process of internationalization plus liberalization. The term of globalization was introduced by Professor Theodore Levitt. Globalization is the word used to describe the growing interdependence of the world economics, cultures, and populations, brought aspects by cross-border trade in goods and services, technology and flows of investment, people and information. Countries have built economic partnership to facilitate these movements over many countries, but the term gained popularity after the Cold War in the early 1990s. As these cooperative arrangements shaped modern everyday life. This guide uses the term more narrowly to refer to international trade and some of the investments flows among advanced economics, mostly focusing on the United States. The wide-ranging effects of globalization are complex and politically charged. As with major technological advance, globalization benefits society as a whole while harming certain groups. Understanding the relative cost and benefits can pave the way for alleviating problems while sustaining the wider payoffs. Next, history of globalization. Since the ancient times, humans have sought distant places to settle, produce, and exchange goods enabled by improvements on technology and transportation. But not until the 19th century did global integration take off, following centuries of European colonization and trade activity. That first wave of globalization was propelled by steamships, railroads, the telegraph, and other breakthroughs, and also by increasing economic cooperation among countries. The globalization trend eventually won and crushed in the catastrophe of World War I, followed by post-protectionism and Great Depression and World War II. After World War II, in the mid-1940s, the United States led effort to review international trade and investment under negotiated around rules, starting a second wave of globalization, which remains ongoing though buffeted by periodic downturns and mounting political scrutiny. The historical background of globalization can be discussed on three stages. History of globalization, first stage, archaic globalization, and second stage, proto-globalization, and third stage, modern globalization. Now, we are explain archaic globalization. Henri Gounder Frank argued that a form of globalization has been in existence since the rise of trade link between Sumer and Indus Valley civilization in the 3rd millennium BC. An early form of globalized economics and culture known as archaic globalization existed during the Hellenistic age. An early form of globalization in the trade link between the Roman Empire, Parthian Empire, and the Han Dynasty made the commercial links between these powers inspired the development of the Silk Road. The Islamic age was also an important early stage of globalization, which was important early stage of globalization. Answer is Islamic age. The advent of Mongol Empire, though destabilizing to the commercial centers of the Middle East and China, greatly facilitated travel along the Silk Road. These pre-modern phase of global exchange are sometimes known as archaic globalization. Next, proto-globalization. The next phase is known as proto-globalization. It was characterized by the rise of maritime European empires on the 16th and 17th centuries. First, the Portuguese and Spanish empires and Dutch and British empires. In the 17th century, globalization became private business. When was globalization become private business? The answer is 17th century. Like British East Indian Company, founded in 1600, described as the first multinational company, and the first Dutch East Indian Company were established. When was British East Indian Company established in India? Answer is 1600. When was Dutch East Indian Company founded in India? Answer is 1602. Next, modern globalization. The 19th century witnessed the advent of globalization approaching its modern form. Between the globalization in the 19th and in the 20th century, there are significant differences. There are two main points. One is the global trade and his centuries, as well as the capital, investment and the economy, and the another one is the global trade in the 20th century shows a higher share of trade in merchant production, a growth of the trade in services, and the rise of production and trade by multinational firms. Globalization process affect and are affected by business and work organization, economics, socio-culture, resources, and the natural environment. Next, I'll explain importance of globalization. Globalization is about the outer connectedness of people and business across the world that eventually leads to global culture, political, and economical integration. Due to the increased demand in the high-tech industry around the world, business and industry have potential for huge profits working globally. It involves all around interlinkages among all the people of the world. Free flow of knowledge, technology goods, services, and people across all societies is its key features. It also increases global competition, which drives prices down and creates a large variety of choices for consumers. Lower cost help people in both developing and already developed countries better on less money. For many developing nations, globalization has led to an improvement in standard of living through improved roads and transportation, improved healthcare, and important education due to the global expansion of corporations. As a result, many manufacturing jobs have developed nations and moved to developing nations. It's very important to study globalization because understanding and contemporary international political economy is an essential part of being an informed citizen. Understanding globalization is a very important part of learning about our human involvement with the environment and society. Next, trade and traders in South India. Historical perspective. Southern Indian trade guilds were formed by merchants in order to organize and expand their trading activities. Trade guilds became channels through which Indian culture was exported to other lands. Early traders. In the year 1053 AD, the Kalinga traders brought red collared stone decorative objects for trade and also cotton textile to Southeast Asia at an early date. Trade involves in the transfer of goods or services from one person to entity to another, often in exchange for money. Extremes refer to a system or network that allowed trade as a market. An early form of trade, the gift of economy, saw the exchange of goods and services without an explicit agreement for immediate or future rewards. A gift economy involves trading things without the use of money. Modern traders generally negotiate through a medium of exchange such as money. As a result, buying can be separated from selling or earning. The invention of money greatly simplified and promoted trade. Trade between true traders is called bilateral trade, while trade involving more than two traders is called multilateral trade. In one modern view, trade exists due to specialization and the division of labor, a predominant form of economic activity in which individuals and groups concentrate on a small aspect of production but use their output in traders for other products and needs. Trade exists between regions because different regions may have a comparative advantage in the production of some trade-able commodity, including production of natural resources. Scores are limited elsewhere. European traders. Between the middle of 16th century and the middle of the 18th century, India's overseas trade steadily expanded. This was due to the trading activities of various European companies which came to India during this period. India had commercial relations with the Western countries from time immemorial. In the year 1053, the Kalinga traders brought red-collared stone decorative objects, the trade and also cotton textile to Southeast Asia at an early date. This was due to the trading activities of the various European companies which came to India during this period. Discovery of new all-sea route from Europe to India via Cape of Good Hope by Vasco da Gama had far-reaching repercussions on the civilized world. The Portuguese. The Portuguese, under the leadership of Vasco da Gama, landed at Calicut on May 1498. Profits of goods brought by Vasco da Gama to Portugal were to 60 times cost of the entire expedition to India. The second trip of Vasco da Gama in 1502 led to the establishment of trading station at Calicut, Cochin and Kannur. Cochin was the early capital of the Portuguese in India. The Portuguese maritime empire acquired the name of Estado da India and its martial objective was to seize the spice trade. But after Corbarel's voyage, she decided to divert to herself all the trade of East with Europe. The successors of Albert established settlements at Diu, Daman, Salsette, Basin, Choud and Bombay, Santom near Madras, and Hooghly in Bengal. In 1534, the Portuguese secured permission from the Sultan of Bengal to build factories at Sadagon and Chittagong. The Portuguese failed to evolve an efficient system of administration. The Portuguese failed to compete successfully with other European companies. Next, I'll explain the Dutch. Dutch undertook several voyages from 1596 and formed the Dutch East Indian Company first 1602. In 1605, Admiral von der Hagen established Dutch factory at Masulipatam and Petapoli, Devanapattinam. In 1610, upon negotiating with the king of Chandragiri, found another factory at Pulicat. Other commodities exported by the Dutch were indigo and Bengali raw silk. Pulicat was the headquarters of the Dutch in India. The Dutch first came to the islands of Sumatra, Java, and the Spice Inlands, attracted by the lucrative trade in pepper and spices. What brought them to India in the first instance was rather the requirements of the archipelago than of the European market. The spices of the archipelago were exchanged for cotton goods from Gujarat and Coromandel coast. Dutch factories were organized at Proch, Bombay, Ahmedabad, Agra, and Vanpur, Bimlapatnam, Karaikal, Cochin were other important Dutch factories in India, supplanting the Portuguese. The Dutch partially maintained monopoly of the spice trade in the East throughout the 17th century. Next, I'll explain the British. On 31st December 1600, Queen Elizabeth granted charter to the East Indian Company. On the southeastern coast, the English established at Masulipatam in 1611 and near Pulicat in 1626. The Sultan of Golconda granted the English the Golden Fireman in 1632, by which they are allowed to trade freely in their kingdom ports. In 1639, built a fortified factory in Madras, which is known as the Fort St. George. It soon displaced Masulipatam as headquarters of the English settlements on the Coromandel coast. The English has established factories at Surat, Agra, Ahmedabad, and Bhuj. All these were placed under the control of the President and Council of the Surat factory. In 1668, Bombay was transformed to the East Indian Company by Charles II. Bombay replaced Surat as the chief settlement of the English on the west coast in 1687, and it became a headquarters of the company on the west coast. Next, I'll explain the Danes. The Danes formed an East Indian Company and arrived in India in 1660. The Danish settlements were established at Tranquebar in 1620, which was the headquarters of Danes in India. They failed to strengthen themselves in India and in 1845 were forced to sell all their India settlements in the British. Next, French. Colbert, minister of Louis XIV, created the companies des Indes Orientales in 1664, financed by the state. The first French factory in India was established by Francois Caron at Surat in 1668, and Maracora succeeded in establishing another French factory at Masulipatam in 1669 by obtaining permission from the Sultan of Golconda. In 1701, Pondicherry was made the headquarters of the French settlements in East, and Francois Martin was appointed as Director General of French Affairs in India. In marked contrast with the prosperity of Pondicherry, the French lost their influence in other places. The French India declined between 1706 and 1720, which led to the reconstruction of the company in 1720 as the Perpetual Company of the Indies. After 1742, political motives began to overshadow the desire for commercial gain with the arrival of Dupleix as French governor in India. It resulted the beginning of Anglo-French conflict by which the French were defeated. Children, now I will give you some important one mark questions from today's topic. Note it down. Question number 1. The term of globalization was introduced by. The term of globalization was introduced by. Answer is Professor Theodore Levitt. Answer is Professor Theodore Levitt. Question number 2. History of globalization studied under dash stages. History of globalization studied under dash stages. Answer is 3. History of globalization studied under 3 stages. Question number 3. Dash was an important early stage of globalization. Dash was an important early stage of globalization. Answer is the Islamic Age. The Islamic Age was an important early stage of globalization. Question number 4. In the dash century, globalization became private business. In the dash century, globalization became private business. Answer is 17th century. In the 17th century, globalization became private business. Question number 5. Who first came to India for trading purpose? Who was first came to India for trading purpose? Answer is Portuguese. Answer is Portuguese. Question number 6. The Portuguese, under the leadership of Dash, landed at Calicut on May 1498. The Portuguese, under the leadership of Dash, landed at Calicut on May 1498. Answer is Vasco da Gama. The Portuguese, under the leadership of Vasco da Gama, landed at Calicut on May 1498. Question number 7. Dash granted the English Golconda fireman in 1632. Dash granted the English the Golconda fireman in 1632. The answer is the Sultan. Answer is Sultan of Golconda. Sultan of Golconda granted the English the Golden Fireman in 1632. Question number 8. The Danish settlements were established at Dash. The Danish settlements were established at Dash. Answer is Tranquebar. The Danish settlements were established at Tranquebar. Question number 9. The first French factory in India was established in Dash. The first French factory in India was established in Dash. Answer is 1668. Answer is 1668. Question number 10. When was Pondicherry was the headquarters of French? When was Pondicherry was the headquarters of French? Answer is 1701. Answer is 1701. Students, now we are going to end of this session. I hope you are all observing the class properly, isn't it? Well done. Students, reading practice is very important. So you must read 2 times today's topic. Tomorrow I will ask few questions from today's topic. So revise properly. Thank you children. See you next class.